Hey everyone, Rob from Southgate Media Group here. Before we get started with this podcast, we have a quick message. If this is your first time checking out the show, we love that you found us and we really hope you enjoy it. What we have to say is for the subscribers. If you enjoy our shows, would you please donate to help keep these going? We don't want to have to put traditional ads on these shows, but this does cost money. So we really do rely heavily on donations. To make a donation to the show, please go to our website, www.southgatemediagroup.com. Go to the page for the show, and in the upper right-hand corner is a donate button. It takes you right to PayPal, and you can donate whatever amount you want. Thanks a lot for listening, everybody. And now, on with the show.
And I'm Ricky.
Up for discussion today is episode 121, The Hard Part. This episode was pretty good, but it's like the hero saying nothing really happened until the end.
Yeah. That's your typical Heroes episode, isn't it?
It really is.
Just kind of fills out until the last 5 minutes, and then you're kind of like, oh, now I have to watch next week, because they're always good with the cliffhangers. It's just the rest of the episode that they're not kind of good with at times, but yeah.
So let's get the summary and then we can get into the recap.
Hiro and Ando attempt to stop Sylar. Sylar returns home to visit his mother. Ted, Matt, and Mr. Bennett continue their journey to New York to disable the company's tracking system. Mohinder joins Thompson and searches for a cure for Molly Walker. DL and Jessica go look for Micah. Peter tries to persuade Claire to stay and help him prevent the explosion. When his resolve in Linderman's plans falters, Nathan receives encouragement from a surprising source.
All right, so we open this episode like we do so many episodes of Heroes, right where we left off in the previous episode, with Ando and Hiro standing on the rooftop after having returned from the 5 years gone future. They have a new comic book, but it's incomplete. It has pictures but no words. Of course it does. So Hiro goes, "Ooh, I know, Mr. Isaac will know," and I'm like, don't put all your eggs in that basket. Meanwhile, Mr. Bennett, Ted, and Matt stop at a car lot to get them to New York.
Ted has surprising control of his powers now. Ever since HRG told him how to make an EMP, he's suddenly able to control his powers a lot more easier and knows what to do with them a lot more easier. I find that really funny.
HRG is a sensei, son. Don't you know that? We'll get to that just very shortly. But so, Matt wants to call Janice for some random reason. And Mr. Bennett's like, no, we can't do that. We got business to take care of.
It's like a little call. Oh, I don't know if it's a callback, but when Micah calls his mom and he gets through, and that's what causes all the problems. And this time HRG's on the case. He's just straight up, no. You ain't calling no one, son.
Yeah, he's not DL. He's on top of things. Yes, sir. Cut to Sylar, who's still at Isaac's loft painting their future. And then he sees Ted, who has the power, and he figures out it's him that's going to take his power and blow up New York. So Sylar, actually, has, a decent human being moment. The only one in the whole series.
I know, it's a really swift change, but they kind of do a good way of explaining it in this episode.
Sylar, calls Mohinder for help, and I'm like, aww.
Well, it's the only person who knows him, right?
Yeah.
It's the only person apart from Agent Hansen who knows him, so, yeah. Well, not even Agent Hansen really knows him, does she?
We'll
so,
get
yeah.
to her kerfuffle in just a few minutes. So Mohinder's trying to talk him down, but then he's calling 911 on his other house phone. I'm not sure how that worked, but okay. So Sylar gets mad and hangs up.
It seems like it's a thing for Sylar. Every time he tries to be good, someone kind of pushes him away. At first it's Chandra. Chandra's bigging him up and saying you're the best, and then tells him no. So that kind of pushes him over the edge. And then here it's in this episode, it's kind of, it starts off with Mohinder, and we'll get on to the next one as we carry on, so yeah.
Mohinder wrote in his journal, I messed up.
Yeah, again.
Anyway, cut to the Sanderses in Las Vegas,
Yep.
and DL discovers that Linderman has taken Micah, and he's gonna go to the Corinthian casino in search of him. And then Niki is, Jessica.
Oh,
Yeah,
Jessica.
Niki, who's being suppressed by Jessica, Niki convinces Jessica to accompany DL and help protect him and get Micah back. And I'm just like, sigh. And fast forward. Meanwhile, we see Candice talking on the phone to Linderman, who's like, yeah, you gotta stay and babysit Micah. So she's all like, all right, whatever.
They have like a really interesting, whatever Missy's doing, she does it really well because she's having this conversation saying how she's going to be babysitting. Then she says, should I really be babysitting? And then obviously Linderman says something. She goes, oh, thanks for that. No one's ever told, she's essentially like, no one's ever told me that. Yeah. Like, he's obviously said something good, but yeah,
He's got daddy issues or granddaddy issues. I don't know which one. And the whole show's full of daddy issues, though, so it's not surprising.
And mummy issues as well.
So then she goes back to pretending like that, and then she tells Micah that they need to help Linderman, and Micah's like, I don't like him. He smells funny. Then we cut to outside that one building where Mohinder meets up with Thompson, and Mohinder's like, Thompson's like, hey, you should work for the company. He's like, haha, LO, no, you need me. I don't really need
You should work, yeah.
And I'm like, no, Mohinder, you need them. Stop playing. So that's that. And then Thompson's like, all right, you caught us, but not really. And then he shows him into the building. So then he's like, he meets Molly Walker. And so basically Thompson's like, yeah, your dad basically was the precipitating factor in her parents being killed. So, hey, maybe you might want to help her.
And Mohinder's obviously like, you're trying to guilt trip me into working for you.
And then he sees Molly's eyes and he's like, okay, you got me. You got me. He explains that Molly kind of has the same thing that his sister has, and that she's the only one that can stop Sylar, so it's like killing two birds with one stone.
Well, she can't really stop Sylar, can she, at the end of the day? She can find him, and...
That's the key to stopping Sylar, apparently. Cut to Sylar making a phone call to an undisclosed person, and he decides he's going to shuffle his way over to Queens.
Yeah, he's showing a bit of regret in this phone call, isn't he? And then shuffles his way over to Queens, but not before getting dressed up into his Clark Kent persona at one point.
I know.
I've seen even before even in the 6 months ago, when I saw it, I was like, oh, it's interesting. He looks different to what he is now. But I didn't really put two and two together until this episode where I was like, oh wait, he's got the glasses, he's got the side parting. It's his Clark Kent persona, isn't it? It's like Sylar's like his supervillain, and Gabriel Gray is like his Clark Kent.
Oh my god, that's so funny because it's true. So Hiro and Ando arrive just as Sylar's getting ready to leave, and then they kind of notice Isaac's dead body, and then they hear Sylar, they're like, oh crap.
When Hiro goes into the past, he goes, "It's already, this has happened," and this isn't the same day that he arrived in the future, is it? This is a couple of days before. Okay, I got really confused at that point. I was like, "Oh wait, if he's saying this has happened, and surely this is the part where the police should storm in and take him, but now he's got Ando." But yeah,
exactly, that one little change, and they came back a couple of days earlier to kill him, and I'm just like, oh yeah, right.
He arrived on the day of the explosion, and this is the day
in the first one.
Yeah, this is the day a couple of days before. Yeah, okay.
So yeah, then Sylar hears them, but then Hiro actually has a grasp on his powers now.
Yeah.
And so they kind of teleport to the convenience store. And then Ando's like,
which is convenient.
Yes. And I was like, you gotta kill Sylar for the good of the city. And he's like, all right, we're gonna follow him.
All the while thinking, the good of me is still living.
Yeah, basically. Cut to DL and Jessica, who are at Linderman's casino looking for Micah. They phase through the walls and they discover his private gallery. And that's when they see this creepy science experiment that is their life.
Basically, he's arranged marriage to them, hasn't he?
Yeah, but so they could have Micah, so he could.
How he would have figured out that the two of them being put together would make
Angela
Micah.
sees the future, right?
Yeah, but yes. suppose.
See,
But...
like the whole big conglomerate of the heroes before our heroes, like they were more badass. Let's just be real. So I always just assume like Angela saw the future, and they were making all the little changes to make sure that future that they saw happened.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So we get numerous pictures of the actors from previously, like from their younger years, just being added onto here. But yeah.
But then they like looking through the stuff, and like Linderman just left his calendar. Like he doesn't have like a PDA or anything, just a little calendar with note scribbles. Okay.
It's called a convenient calendar. So, yeah.
Yes. And so they figure out that he's in New York, and it has something to do with Nathan Petrelli. And so off they go. Cut to Mohinder formally introducing himself to Molly, and does a bad job of taking some of her blood.
Yep.
Mohinder says that he knows Molly has an ability and that she can find anybody. No, Molly tells him how her powers work, and that she calls Sylar the boogeyman.
Yeah, but doesn't that get retconned at one point, or is that something different?
It does get retconned.
Okay, yeah. I was
Everything
confused,
gets retconned eventually. I guess the truth. Meanwhile, over at the Petrelli mansion, Peter tries to convince Claire to stay in New York, and I'm like, you're her uncle.
Whoa! You're glossing over a major bit of what happens. Heidi returns with the family.
Don't want to talk about it. It was that awkward moment where your dad's other family shows up.
It's not just that. It's like Heidi returns. She asks, "Did anything interesting happen?" And he goes, "Nah, pretty ordinary." All the while, like his brother's died and come back to life, and his illegitimate child has come and found him and is being carted off to Paris. Is just randomly standing on the staircase. But yeah,
like, is the house that big that she would have never noticed Claire?
I know she's in a wheelchair and she can only look straight ahead, but you know her legs are broken, not her neck. She can look up at one point. If you see in your peripheral, you can see this girl standing on your chair on your stairs. So yeah,
I was just like, that is messed up. But like that was like what's even more messed up is Peter trying to convince his niece to stay in New York instead of trying to keep her safe. Like
I know I get
what Peter's saying, but it's like, dude.
I can understand. It's logical, but it's not like
it's logical in a hero's way.
Yeah. He's getting her to stay because she's the only one who can stop him, because obviously she is, because she's Claire Bennett and she's massively overpowered. Sorry, a good character.
Wow, Ricky tells you how it really feels. I guess, have you been drinking whiskey? Because this is World Whiskey Day.
No, not yet. Maybe when I go to bed, but yeah.
So yeah, then Nathan, Claire explains to Peter and Nathan what happened in Odessa with Ted, and Peter tells Nathan to call the FBI to find Ted, and then, Claire and Peter out of earshot, Nathan calls Linderman, and he's like, yeah, we got a problem.
He's still drinking that Kool-Aid. He may seem like he goes through the ringer again in this episode, he seems like he's about to back out of the plan, but later on, we'll get onto that, yeah.
It's Nathan.
Yeah.
I would have been more surprised had he actually done it. As Sylar arrives at his destination, Hiro and Ando, kind of sneak around to the window to keep an eye on them, and then,
and just creep. They just creep on him for, the whole episode. It seems like 45 minutes to just looking through his window.
So messed up. And so they see that the person that Sylar's visiting is his mom. She seems happy.
I remember when I first watched this, and I was like, I could not see anything else but the woman from the Little Shop of Horrors, because that's where she's from, and I was half expecting her to burst out into song at any moment.
Feed me, Seymour.
No, Suddenly Seymour. I love that song, but yeah, anyway.
Yeah, it's funny because, it comes to find out that she hated his father's clocks, and he said he did it out of a sense of duty, but it seems like he actually kind of liked doing it as well. Yeah,
he seemed like he had some sense of pride. He had more pride in it than she did. He was like...
Well, she thought it was a hobby, because her husband couldn't provide for her.
And he was happy being a clockmaker, and she was not, because, mummy issues. So, yeah. Anyway.
And she goes, Sylar, you're special. You could be president if you wanted. And I'm like, damn it, lady! Don't put ideas in his head.
Any job. You could have been a doctor. You could have
Could
been a
have been a
nurse. You could have been a nurse like Peter Petrelli, that good old Peter Petrelli. But no.
Oh, God. Anyway, after that, we see Nathan speaking with Thompson in his office about Ted and the election and the explosion. And, like, he's getting really worked up because he feels like he's not being told everything. And he's like, I don't know about this plan, man. I'm like, really, Nathan? In for a penny, in for a pound at this point.
I know, right?
So Peter and Claire arrive to visit Nathan, but then she sees Thompson through the shades. And she's like, no, man, I know that dude. And she's like, her dad, she explains Mr. Bennett used to work for him. And she's like, damn it, I came all this way. We gotta get out of here. Peter and Claire leave the headquarters, and I'm just like, good.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Micah discovers that Candice is, like, impersonating his mom. He tries to escape, but, yeah.
Doesn't. Just runs back into the same room. But, yeah.
She's like, okay, so she's like, once the jig is up, she's like, all right, you gotta behave. Otherwise, I'm gonna show you things that will mess you up.
That is her go-to threat. She used it when she was...
I want to see her do that to somebody.
She used it when she was Claire to HRG, and now she's using it to little old Micah. What is she going to show them?
That's her problem. She's a bully. So back to Sylar. He wants to show his mom how special he is, and he starts doing this thing with her snow globes. And I remember the first time I saw this scene, like this episode, and I'm like, the hell is this? It's just so weird and random.
He had the ice powers like before, didn't he? Yeah. It's a nice little... Maybe that's a reason why he got the ice powers, so eventually he could
make a real life-size...
Make a real snow globe for his mother. But it's a really weird scene because one minute she's like really into it. She like really likes it. And, their relationship's a bit, psycho-esque, shall we put it.
Do you remember if that was actually intentional or is this just a blatant ripoff?
I have no idea. It just seems there's some really weird bits, like where there's the bit where she's telling him he could be president. She's got her hands on both his cheeks, and then she suddenly like touches his cheek, his lips, and then his chin. It's really, really creepy. But during this snow globe thing, she just kind of all of a sudden she turns around and it cuts to like him just looking demented as per usual. As he looks full on Sylar at that point because his glasses are off.
He accidentally cuts her with one of them. I don't think it was an accident, honestly.
But it wasn't even that bit where she starts freaking out. It's when she sees him looking all demented, and I don't know why she all of a sudden like freaks out. It's probably because she gets cut, but it just seems really weird. Like for me, it's a decent enough attempt at trying to make Sylar a bit more well-rounded than your kind of like properly evil character. But because he's guilty, he's afraid of like killing all these innocent people. He even says only wanted to do this because of natural selection. He was just taking people's powers who didn't deserve it. And it's nice to see him. He's got a sense of morality at this point, but obviously it doesn't pan out because of what happens in the rest of the episode. So
we come back to a very frustrated Mohinder who's trying to find a cure for Molly's condition. I'm like, dude, you've been there for what, 10 minutes?
Yeah.
He searches his father's records for the cure he supposedly developed months after Shanti's death. And then while he's cleaning up the files with Molly's help, he finds an old picture of his parents and his sister with his mother who is pregnant with him. And then it clicks in his head. Mohinder's like, oh. Then he was like, I promise that I'm going to help you. And then she gives him a star of protection.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, no.
I like the fact that Molly came back into it and her powers kind of have relevance to the plot. Like it's like Claire and Micah, like pretty much all the kids in the show, their kind of powers have relevance to like the overarching storyline. Like she's able to be like find people. Obviously Claire's regenerating is useful for like people like Sylar and stuff like that. And Peter. So yeah. And Mike has obviously been engineered, as is probably the best word we can say, to rig the election. So yeah, No, it's nice to know that they kind of had some, like, I'm hoping that they had these ideas in place before, but you never know.
Well, obviously Claire's and Micah's was,
Yeah, yeah,
because even in the unaired pilot, we see Micah at the
yeah.
prison,
That's true. Yeah, yeah.
presumably just gonna let his dad out with the help of that. So I know that for a fact. But the Molly thing was the most interesting because I just did not see that coming the first time that I watched through. Like, I just couldn't.
Like, did you completely forget about this little girl that Matt saved? I did.
Yeah, I did. When I was first watching it, she shows up, and I'm like,
Oh, she's fake.
oh
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Oh yeah, her name's Molly Walker. It's the Walker system. Oh, I completely.
Duh.
Yeah.
Oh no, wait, where's it at? Never mind. I don't have it. I don't have the sound effect for duh. But anyway, so yeah, so after that little scene, we go back to the Mrs. Gray's Queen apartment, and Hiro is having doubts about killing Sylar, saying he can't kill a man, begging for forgiveness. And so Ando's like, bro,
He's gonna kill me.
he like opens up the comic book page and goes, "You see this?"
And it's just him looking like a Mortal Kombat fatality, like that new Ermac one where they just like get twisted up. Yeah. I like at least finally Hiro got back on track to trying to like kind of killing Sylar at this point. But obviously, you know, it shows like his morality that, you know, he doesn't want to kill Sylar because he's pleading for forgiveness, and it kind of makes him more endearing, yet a little bit annoying at the same time, as you've tweeted. But yeah.
So like we see Sylar's mom crying, and she's scared of her son, and he tells her
He's like a little child, like just banging his head against the door crying. But yeah.
He's Cartman.
Yeah.
Man!
He just wants some cheesy poofs. But yeah.
Oh god, if somebody would just gave him cheesy poofs. So he's like, I don't want to kill all these people.
I just want cheesy poofs.
So his mother finally leaves her bedroom, but then she orders him to leave the house because, like, again, religious stuff just pops out of nowhere.
Yes.
He's damned.
Yeah. I don't know why she's saying she's gonna leave. She should just tell him to leave. But yeah, anyway. And then it leads to like the most awkward death scene I think I've seen in Heroes. Like, you know what's happening as soon as the scissors get picked up, and it's
Exactly.
it's just so like weirdly like awkward the way that death happens. But yeah.
So I almost wanted him to take her wig off. And sit in a rocking chair. I mean, if we're gonna do it, let's do it.
And then he gets and then he eventually gets more powers. He eventually gets Candice's powers, and then, you know, he can straight up be her. So yeah, that's what they should have done.
They totally should have, but he was supposed to stay dead.
Yeah, I suppose.
Damn writer's strike. We'll get there though. So as she begins to fall, Hiro freezes time, enters the room, and prepares to kill Sylar. But before he can deliver the killing blow, time resumes, and Sylar catches the
Yeah, his heartbeat for some reason. Yeah, it's weird.
Why do I always feel like Sylar did that?
Yeah, I think it was, for me, it was like the heartbeat kind of woke him up, but I don't understand because of his super hearing. So I think that might be it, but I don't know for sure. Yeah, it was really weird.
Any excuse to stretch this out to 23 episodes.
Exactly.
So Sylar's like, yeah, kill me. But then he gets all mad because he won't. So he's like, now I gotta kill you.
Yeah.
And then Ando busts through the door, distracting him long enough for Hiro to teleport them both away. And then Sylar kind of looks down, and he can finally react to his mother's death.
Yeah, it's a good piece of acting by Quinto here. Like, you can see the real differences between the Sylar character and the Gabriel Gray character. Like, just even in the intonation of the voice, they're very different, and you can tell when he's like slipping into one persona and when he's in the other.
I always said, and I don't mean this in a bad way, Quinto can chew up some scenery, bro.
Yeah.
So we finally see Mohinder's eureka moment when he realizes that healthy antibodies in his blood can counteract Molly's illness. Mohinder was the cure that his father wrote about. It was only that he was born too late, thus his father's hate for him.
And also, he does not care about the fact that he was only created, quote unquote, to save his sister. He doesn't feel any insecurities about that at all. He's just straight away like, yeah.
So yeah, that was kind of messed up. He was like, I was too late to save my sister, but I'm not too late to save you. And again, it brings back the Syrashis to really being kind of the the genesis of this whole particular situation.
Yep.
In a way. And I like that, because Mohinder was always very important to me. So cut to Hiro and Ando in Isaac's loft. He's like, Hiro's like, I failed. And he's like, he thinks he's failed Ando.
Every roadblock that gets put up in front of him, he's always the first thing is, I failed.
Oh,
like
no!
every time.
Yeah. Then they notice that Hiro's sword has snapped, and I'm like, damn it! No! Are we gonna like? I remember the first time I watched it. Like, are we gonna have to go back to when the sword was actually created now, or nah? Just that ticked me off when that sword broke. I was like, we spent all this time on this sword, and now it's broken. Great job. Meanwhile, another party brewing in the Petrelli mansion. Peter's searching the drawers for something, and he's like, "Hey, were you even gonna say goodbye?"
Yeah.
And he's like, "You gotta save the world," and then. She's like, how? And he's like, here, have this gun. It's just like, LOL, no. And then he shows her the sketchbook containing the drawings of the explosion in a picture. Claire confirms to be Ted. Peter recognizes the location of the drawing, and I'm just like, ugh.
Oh, I'm glad that she believed him when she saw the picture of Ted. Like, it wasn't just like he showed her the book and that was it, and she was instantly believing in him and going with him on this mission. But yeah, I like that fact that he drew Ted and she recognized him, and obviously she knows he hasn't met him, but she has. So yeah, I like that bit. And also him giving her the gun and being the reason why she stays around is a good plot point, like, to keep her around.
But at the same time, like, I really liked, I don't know if this was intentional or not, but Claire really seemed like Nathan's daughter in the way that she talked to Peter.
Yeah.
For almost half of this episode. She's just like, especially when they were in his office and she realizes that Nathan might be in on it too. She's like, why do you stand up for him? And she's asking the questions everybody always asks about him. And I just really like that a lot. Like, this is like Claire with a backbone, and I really kind of like it.
There's also that little moment in, like, near the beginning of the episode where Mama Petrelli's picking out clothes for her, and obviously, like, Claire's gone through, like, the clothing change throughout this whole episode and is looking, like, halfway decent. She's not just in the cheerleader uniform all the time. But to me, it just felt like Mama Petrelli just wanted a girl the whole time, and this is, like, her way of having a girl.
Dress up!
Yeah, exactly.
I was like, nobody cares about gloves. Shut up, Angela.
She's like, accessorize, darling. We've got to accessorize. But yeah.
So then we cut to Sylar being creepy as he uses his mother's blood to make a mural of the explosion. And so then he, like, starts rambling about being special and I'm gonna be president. I was just like, oh God, please don't let 5 years gone happen. Don't let it happen.
Do we blame the mom for Sylar as well? So is the mom, like, Virginia Gray is his mother and Chandra Suresh is his father, as in, like, they're the people who created Sylar, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then, leaving the Petrelli mansion, Peter and Claire run into, like, they show up at that square, and then they happen to run into Matt, Mr. Bennett, and Ted, and I'm like, no!
Come on, it's not randomly. They say in the picture he draws Kirby Plaza, and that's where Ted is in the picture. So that's why they go there, because obviously they know he's going to eventually...
Yeah, they're like waiting around for a good second before they show up.
Exactly.
I was just like, how did you know it was going to be that day? Like, come on, you're going to sit there all night?
Well, they know it's got to be like this day or the next day, so they're going to have to, because obviously they know that it's one of them, like, New York is going to blow up from there, at least, I think, at this point, but yeah.
Okay, but Mr. Bennett also knows that New York's going to explode. Ted's an exploding man, and he's bringing him, like, we talked about that before.
Yeah, I know.
I've been so upset about this.
Yeah. Because he's the man. He's like the man in the show. He's like, he knows, he's always got the plan, even though he's kind of middle management, as Parkman goes on about. But, he's always thinking steps ahead. But bringing, like, Ted along is, like, the dumbest thing he's done. But yeah.
Yeah, ever. Anyway, so we get a little, like, tearful reunion between Claire and Mr. Bennett. And then, like, out of nowhere, Peter, starts absorbing Ted's abilities. And Ted's like, hey, guys, what's he doing?
Well, Ted's never seen it before. He's only ever seen his hands. He's never seen someone else do it, so yeah.
It was just so funny. He's like, excuse you, that's my deal. That's my storyline.
Exactly.
And that's kind of where we end the episode. So, I don't even want to know what you gave this as a grade.
Go on then. What did you give it?
I'm Ricky for the day, and this is definitely a solid C for me.
Oh, okay.
Like, the ending, had it not been for, like, the reunion between Claire and HRG, it might have been a D.
Yeah.
Claire was really awesome in this episode, but everything else was just like, can we get on with it?
Oh no, I'm gonna give it a C plus for. I'm gonna go better, C plus B minus, because I thought like it's everything's coming together in this episode, even though it's taking its sweet time getting there. We're getting like good plots that are kind of not wrapping up, but like being brought forward and, you know, kind of paying off essentially. Like, you know, obviously now we've got Peter in New York next to Ted. That's the bomb. Like we still don't know who technically. Well, we kind of know Peter is, but we're still led to believe that it could be anyone, like any one of the three at this point. We've got like the introduction of Molly. I think, you know, a lot of stuff comes like round in this episode, which is quite good. But yeah, that's just
Heroes
me.
just suffered. The first season really suffered from them deciding to make this randomly and arbitrarily into a 23 episode.
Yes.
So like this episode clearly demonstrates that grave mistake. And that's
It's essentially Arrow season 1 for me. Like, I loved the first half of Arrow season 1. I thought it was great, and then once it got the 22, yeah, and I was just like, oh god, filler, what's going on? This is the same thing. He's doubting himself again. Oh god, not again. The only good thing that the second half had was like Felicity, but yeah, okay.
I agree, but yeah. So, what was your favorite scene?
I'm probably going to go for the ending, just because, you know, it's your typical hero's cliffhanger, which draws you into the next episode, even though you kind of know, well, on a rewatch anyway, you know that it's going to be filler until the very end. So yeah, I liked it. How about you?
Anything to do with Mohinder in this episode. No, he's like, you know, he like wants to stop Sylar, and you know, he's like kind of trying to subvert the company, and he meets Molly, and it's just, I don't know, that little girl just had such great chemistry with Sunil and Greg, and I just like, I wonder what that little girl's doing now. Like, I'm sure she's like all grown up and everything.
She's got to be going to college now, huh?
Yeah, like every time I see this episode, I always think about like, I wonder where she's at.
Yeah, I know. I was kind of randomly looking on Twitter, like, to find people like from the show, and I found a couple of people who have the name and people who have put a photo of her up, but I don't know which one is the real one or even if she's on Twitter. But yeah,
it's the same thing with Greg Beeman. Like, why is he not on Twitter? I don't understand.
He doesn't want people telling him stop with the trumpet shots, the extreme close-ups, probably. But yeah.
Yeah. But I don't know, like, that little girl just always stands out in my mind in this episode. And it's just a great addition to the mythos.
I do like, my favourite line is hers when she...
Throwing shade at Mohinder.
Yeah. Where she's just like, what did she say? She says,
It's not like the other doctors. And Mohinder's like, thanks. She's like, better at this than you. Yep. That's definitely one of my favorites. But then, my favorite line of this episode is Claire to Peter. My destiny is to shoot you. The universe cannot be that lame. And I'm like, oh, but it is. Any iconic moments in this episode for you?
Not really. Oh, actually, I kind of dug the snow globe moment, because they even put her in a snow globe at one point. It's an interesting, as creepy as it is, it's still quite a very interesting visual to see. Yeah, how about you?
Is this the episode where they see the picture of Micah in the burning building?
Yeah, I believe so. That's when they randomly know that they have to go to New York.
Yeah, for some reason I really love that painting, even though that painting doesn't look like Micah. I don't know, I just like the flames in the building, and obviously it's Kirby Plaza, so yeah.
It's the hotel room that he's in, I'm assuming.
Yeah, whatever. Kansas' little dungeon.
Yeah.
All right, I know we got listeners. Oh, well, trivia. Jumping the gun here.
That's okay.
It's not much.
Yeah, it's not much. Santiago is credited for playing Isaac's corpse. which is nice of them. In the Spanish subtitles for the episode, when Matt and Noah discuss the Walker system, the phrase is translated as the girl instead of the Walker system. The Spanish subtitles translate Noah's speech as the company has... Oh, no, they basically say, that's fine, we have to go to New York and eliminate the girl as opposed to the system, so...
Yeah, so they got the surprise without the surprise.
They kind of gave it away
So
there.
that's all like, yeah, let's go kill this little girl. That's great.
The Mancurian candidate was influenced for the speech, for Angela's speech in Nathan's office.
Nathan's whole being, really.
Yeah. And I think that's all I've got. The other one is just basically when Peter's looking for a gun, a CD can be seen, and it's just background music. Yeah.
Walls Part 1 is the book that goes with this, but we talked about it last week.
We can discuss... I say we discuss Hannah in this one.
So we're talking the Death of Hana Gitelman, Part 1.
Oh, you could sound a bit more enthused about it, but yeah. No, I liked the Death of Hana Gitelman. I thought it was a nice little going out for her. Basically, the first part is her having her call to arms again via HRG, and basically this is where the guys split off. So the three of them, as in HRG, Ted and Matt, go off to New York to get the Walker system, and they basically task her on her own to go get rid of the isotopes tracking system. So she basically knows kind of that it's going to be a suicide mission because the satellite's in space, and she lives her last day and tries to reach her full potential. And that's the first one.
Oh, yeah. So this is the interesting thing, is that this story was written by Eli Coletti, who is also the person that wrote that episode. And then we had art by Jason Bad Hour, whatever. Yeah. And then I remember this one. The Easter egg was Milo and Hayden, and I was just like, sigh.
The second one is basically her going into space, and she uses her powers very interestingly. Like, she makes up fake documents, gets herself into space, and she jumps to the satellite, tries to take it down using her powers, isn't able to, so decides that she has to destroy the satellite by plunging it to Earth. And it's her doing the right thing. She says in her final monologue that she's not doing it for revenge for her parents. She's not doing it because she wants to save the world. She's doing it just because it's the right thing to do. And obviously at the end we get a little she's dead but she's still alive, living inside the internet basically.
Yeah, I like the Micah touch.
Because it stands to reason that they would talk to each other. But there is the only trivia we've got is there's a nice little Easter egg to the Ninth Wonder's message boards posters on one of the tabs of Micah's computer when he's talking to Hannah as himself, and there's a spelling mistake. He uses Skype. Those are most of the Easter trivias that I can add to this, apart from...
Wait, the final frame of the comic shows that Hiro impaling Sylar using the Kensei sword.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's not... Yeah.
Yeah, it's the Nagamaki sword that Ando bought.
But no, it was... I liked Hannah in the comics. She was a nice little...
Yeah, in the comics.
Yeah, but she wasn't really that much in the episodes, even with her weird accent. But, yeah, in the comics,
she was weird that they decided to do this so shortly after 5 years gone, though.
Yeah, I suppose. But I suppose they had to kind of show that wasn't going to happen, or that you
not
could
in that same way.
Yeah, or maybe she comes back as like a life model decoy. Her essence is still in the...
Time in Tahiti, huh?
Yeah, she's still in the Matrix, so to speak. So yeah, you never know what would have happened. Email. Okay, I've only got a couple of tweets from Louise Desora. She says, loved it. She's basically talking about all of Hero Season 1, I think, because we put out a tweet asking for thoughts of episodes 1 to like 20 at this point. And I've got another one from Sissa G. Her name's Priscilla. She says she's basically just started watching Heroes and she finds it awesome and addictive. She couldn't stop watching. She started at 8 a.m. and didn't stop until 10 p.m. She loves it. She's watching for the second time. It's awesome. She can't stop watching, and 4 thumbs up. And she gave me 4 thumbs up emojis. So yeah, she likes it. Yeah. I guess we're going to go to my favourite part. You can you can listen to our show on loads of apps. Firstly, just search Primatech Files on iTunes and Stitcher. Make sure you download, subscribe, rate and review on iTunes. You can bookmark Libsyn, primatechfiles.libsyn.com, and you can fave Southgate Media Group on SoundCloud. Speaking of Southgate Media Group, you can find them on iTunes. Just type in Southgate Media Group and you can find loads of podcasts on TV and general popular culture. You can also find their website, southgatemediagroup.com, to learn more about the host, keep up to date on the podcast, and read weekly blogs. You can follow our Tumblr, primatechfiles.tumblr.com, and you can follow our Facebook on facebook.com/primatechfiles. We live tweet 2 episodes every Saturday. Just follow Primatech Files on Twitter and use the hashtag Primatech Files during the live tweeting to join the conversation. This week we did episode 21, which is the hard part. And we have a list of the people who joined in either through tweeting, retweeting, or faving were Electric One Unicorn. That is electric with a 1 instead. No, it's Electric Unicorn, and the L in electric is a 1. OUAT_Neverland, Nemesis HD, Soft_Guitar 60, Demetria Mills 3, Ava Perez 71, Miss Gemini 1978, Sissa G, English Idiot 101, and Sinzia 667. Finally, you can find any of my writings at quanmagazine.com or thepeoplesmovies.com. Also, I mainly write on tvbinges.com, where you can find all your binge watching needs and create your own binge. You can finally find me on Twitter at RickyJDiaz. That's RickyJDiaz or Z if you are American. Lilith?
You can find me on Twitter at Lilith Hellfire, on Tumblr, lilithfairyhellfire.tumblr.com, and please don't forget to check out my blog, littlepopculturevulture.blogspot.com. Ricky, time for our tagline.
Download the podcast, save the world.